Hello, MacKids. I hear that you are in want of a story, and I never shy away from reading one. My name is Christian McKay Heidicker, and I just had a new book come out called Thieves of Weirdwood. It's about two young boys who join a brutal gang in order to survive their brutal city, and they break into this burned down manor to see what sort of riches they can plunder, and they find that it's a waypoint between their realistic city of commerce and hunger and all of the fantasies that that city dreams and imagines and creates in their artwork. And the boys are suddenly caught between, or in this struggle to prevent some of the monsters that are flooding from that imaginary city into their real one, like this here rook creature that actually has scythes for talons you can't see, and it has abducted a screaming baby. Terrifying. Macmillan told me that I could be as creative as I want when it comes to this video, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm on deadline, and I'm locked in my house, so I don't have a lot of options. Like, I can't do a lot of cool things, but I thought, what if I were to perform these pages that I would like to read for you today using my cat's toys with her permission? I will have the part of Wally played by this fox here, and then I will have the part of Arthur played by this tiny monkey. Basically, like, my relationship with these toys is that I hide them around my apartment throughout the day, and Lucy, my cat, goes and finds them. We play hide and seek, and if she brings them to me, she usually does it with like a cute little hunting cry. Then I give her a treat, and it's adorable. But today they're gonna be doing different roles. We have not rehearsed this. We don't know how it goes at all, so bear with us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Curtain rising or falling onto our scene. Ah. Wally Cooper found Arthur Benton right where he'd expected, tucked between two chimney pots and reading a frayed book by evening light. The book had been thumbed through and rescued from puddles so many times that it resembled an old sponge. The tattered cover read The Adventures of Garnet Lacroix and His Merry Rogues of Kingsport by Alfred Moore. Or it would have, had most of the lettering not peeled away. "Evening, Arthur," Wally said, dusting the soot from his shirt. Dust, 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 dust. Arthur held up his pointer finger and turned a page. "Oh, come on," Wally said. "You've read that story 100 times now." "Hush, Cooper," Arthur said, eyes fixed on the book. "I'm just getting to the part where the gentleman thief—" Got to turn the page. "Frees the children of the orphanage and tells the madam, 'That'll be enough of your gruelty.'" Wally leaned against the chimney and stared at the ravens perched on the laundry lines. It was said that the rook, the cold-hearted boss of the Black Feathers, was always watching through the black bird's onyx eyes. Wally didn't believe in stuff like that, but it was hard not to feel superstitious when he was weeks behind on his tribute. If the rook knew that the money meant for the Black Feathers' coffers was going to Grey Ridge, Graham's hospital bill would become the least of Wally's worries. Thieves who came up short on their tribute exited the Storm Crow pub missing a finger, or even a hand. "Ha!" A laugh burst out of Arthur as he snapped his book shut. "Gets me every time." He rolled out between the chimney pots and held up The Adventures of Garnet Lacroix like it was a holy text. "Did you know, Cooper, that Alfred Moore, author of these fine tales, is one of Kingsport's very own, and that all of the adventures take place in the streets of our fair city?" Wally sighed. "Yes." "And did I tell you," Arthur continued, "that Moore up and retired without so much as an announcement, leaving us with a cliffhanger so steep it would make a mountain goat cry? At least a dozen times. Or that his adoring fans, myself included, have spent years trying to figure out where he lives so we can beat down his door and demand that he continue the story. Wally stopped responding. It didn't seem to make a difference anyway. Arthur placed his hands on his hips and beamed over Kingsport. What I wouldn't do for one last Garnett story. It would give me the clues I need to make this city bow before the grandeur of a real gentleman thief. Wally rolled his eyes. With Arthur's soot-stained cheeks, oversized hat, and vest frayed at the seams, he was a far cry from a gentleman. So, Arthur, Wally said, do you still need people for that secret job you were working on? Arthur narrowed his eyes. Who told you about that? Priscilla. She was talking about it in the Storm Crow. Wally didn't mention that she'd been making fun of Arthur at this time. Instead, he pulled out his pick set. She said you were looking for someone who could open a tricky lock. I might be, Arthur said, folding his arms. Why are you interested? Wally glanced away. He never breathed a word about his brother outside the hospital. It scared him to think that Graham's madness might be catching, that someday Wally too would start vandalizing city buildings and believing that feathered boas were mystical flying serpents. Just need a new Beltazal, Wally said, adjusting the rope that held up his pants. Who's the mark? Arthur plopped down between the chimney pots and started reading again. I can't share that information with just anybody. I only need the best for this job. I can pick locks, Wally said, and I can make a pocketbook vanish like a breeze. If you were that good, you would have risen higher in the Black Feathers by now, Arthur said. Wally bit his lip. Nearly all of his money went to Graham's bills, which left Wally in poor standing with the gang. Arthur turned a page. I don't need an amateur slowing me down. Wally knew that the real reason Arthur hadn't pulled the job yet was that no one wanted to work with him. Arthur was loud, brash, and paid himself too much credit. His grandiose plans tended to be disasters, like the infamous Narwhal blubber job, to name just one. Still, Arthur could charm the pink out of a sunrise, and when his harebrained schemes actually worked, he brought in more money than most of the young Black Feathers combined. If Wally continued picking pockets for a handful of measly coins, he'd be lucky to pay off Graham's bill by 1910, long after the hospital had begun its experimental treatments. Wally peeked over Arthur's shoulder at the book. Doesn't Garnet Lacroix command his own gang of thieves? They're called the Merry Rogues, Arthur said, still reading. Wally searched the rooftop. Where are your Merry Rogues? Arthur turned another page. The other Black Feathers are intimidated by daring adventures. They've got cold feet. Claws, I guess. Too bad. Too bad for them, Arthur said. Wally scraped soot out from beneath his fingernails. Seems to me that if there was a promising heist to pull, then Garnet would jump right on it. He wouldn't wait for help. Arthur snapped the book shut, stood, and slipped it in his back pocket. Apparently I'm going to have to find a new reading spot. Wally stepped behind Arthur. Has Lacroix ever been so down on his luck that he had to wear a hand-me-down hat? He asked, tapping the back of Arthur's head, drawing his attention away from his pocket. Of course not, Arthur cried, pulling a loose thread from his ragged cap. But he would if it helped feed the orphans. Wally circled Arthur. Does Garnet sit around reading books all day instead of stealing from the rich? Probably, Arthur said, spinning around to keep up. He just reads between adventures. Where else would he get his smarts? Like in Chapter 6 where he reached for his back pocket and found it empty. He turned and saw Wally leaning against the chimney, reading his book. Looks to me like the gentleman thief just starts the adventure, Wally said. Arthur's frown thawed into a smile. You say you can pick locks? Wally handed the book back. Like Charlie picks his nose. All right, Cooper. You're in. Oh, they come to the front of the stage and they bow and take in all of your applause. They had no idea that they were going to be doing this today, or that they needed pockets or books or any of those things. But they did a pretty good job, I would say, for normally just being chewed on by a cat and having never acted a day in their lives. Not bad. Okay, go make Luce happy. Oh my gosh. When I threw that, I actually hit my cat in the back. Sorry, darling. She's okay, though. Here, check it out. Lucy, say hi. Thanks for letting us use your toys. Anyway, that is a scene from Thieves of Weirdwood where Wally convinces Arthur to let him in on this grand heist, which is going to be the burned down manor, by proving that he can, in fact, steal things like a breeze. Like a breeze passing through a pocket. Hopefully I'll see your faces soon. Okay, take care. Goodbye.